All right, guys, moving on. Well, actually, not moving on, I guess, since I couldn't wait to do John Carpenter's Halloween. I was going to do the whole series this month, and last month couldn't wait since I've said that was John Carpenter's Halloween was the first horror film I ever saw, and it was the movie that got me into horror. And I'll never forget, it was on Halloween night when I was either 5 or 6 years old, and it just drew me in every single way. Just Michael Myers himself, the music, just the mask, Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis, everything about that movie just it was one of the most important viewing experiences of my life. Like absolutely. And just for the fact, as I said, that is what got me onto the path to becoming a horror fanatic. It was Halloween, and then soon after that is when I saw the first Friday the 13th and pretty much the rest of them in succession over the course of a few months or something like that. So Halloween is what I owe basically everything to when it comes to being a horror fan. And Halloween 2, I remember seeing not too long after the first Halloween. And even after all these years, it's a good film. I enjoy it, but it's nowhere near my favorite in the franchise. And a lot of it has to do with the whole brother and sister relationship between Laurie and Michael. I never liked that. I've never cared for that whole revelation. It takes away so much of the mystery and mystique of Myers in the first movie of why Laurie, why go after her, why is he stalking her. It was great without a reason. Like it adds so much to that first movie for there not being a reason. That just something about Laurie enamored Michael so much that he stalked her through that whole day and night, found out who her friends are, found out where she's babysitting, found out who Annie was babysitting, Lindsay across the street, and just that whole day stalking Laurie throughout that Halloween day and night. I feel like a lot of that was stripped away by giving it a reason. By saying, oh, well, she's Michael's younger sister. And that's the reason that he was going after her. Just never worked for me. I never liked that inclusion. But we got Halloween 2, 1981, directed by Rick Rosenthal. And we open up with Mr. Sandman, which I love that song. And I feel like it was a perfect song to open up and close this movie. We get the recap at the beginning here of the end of the first Halloween, which bothers the shit out of me. When Michael falls off after he gets shot by Loomis and he falls off the balcony, I hate that. I don't know why they didn't use the original footage. I would say maybe it was the rights thing, but I mean, you see clips right before that of Laurie saying to Tommy and Lindsay to go across the street and go down the block, call the cops, all of that. So I don't know what the reason is that they refilmed Michael falling off the ledge, but it looks so different. It looks so bad. It looks like obviously a stuntman like backing his way onto the banister and falling off. I can't stand that. I never did. I never could and never liked that at all. But it's such a small thing, but it bothers me every single time. And I shot him 6 times. I shot him 6 times. We could say that over and over again. How many times has that been a meme over the years? And when he goes and he steals, I like the scene when he goes into the old woman's house and her husband sleeping on the couch watching some horror movie. I like the shot of Michael in the background after picking up the knife and then walking back out of the house. Cool scene. And Dick Warlock did a good job as Michael in this. Like the mask, it's okay. It's not as terrible as some of the later entries, and it depends on the scenes in this. There's some scenes where it looks very, very good. And then there's other scenes that it just looks weird to me. Like it has a weird look to it. I don't know if it's... Let me see quick here. Yes, because in the first Halloween, you can see his jumpsuit here is open a bit. In this one, in Halloween 2, it's not. And I don't know, it makes it look, fuck Michael, see? He's dead, I killed him. See how easy it is? But it's something looks different about it. Like his jumpsuit is like zipped all the way up, and it kind of makes the mask look a little weird. It's hard to describe, but it's not the worst looking mask in the series by any means. And like I said, in certain shots, I like it more than in other shots. So it depends on the lighting, I guess. But like I said in my whole hour plus long discussion for John Carpenter's Halloween, that if I was John Carpenter back then, I would have just looked at that William Shatner mask, see what company it was that made it. And just when you see that this movie was blowing up at the box office, the first Halloween, call that company up, order 1,000 of those masks, and then you're set for the next 40 years. We can be having the same mask for this last trilogy, for Halloween 2018 up to ends, with the same fucking mask, and it would look great through this entire franchise. But shit happens, and we get a different mask every time, and it is what it is. But nothing is ever going to beat the first mask in the first movie for me. And then after taking that knife, he goes over to the neighbors, to the girl's house, and she's talking to her friend on the phone, and she's getting the news for the first time that 3 people were killed right in Haddonfield. And I think it's weird that the friend says to her that they were killed in Haddonfield, and then they mention the street, and she says like that's like up the block, or it's like 2 blocks away from here. So they're in Haddonfield, right? So I thought it was kind of weird that she says like these 3 kids were found killed in Haddonfield, like they're not there in Haddonfield. I don't know, something I picked up on this watch that I was like, aren't they in Haddonfield? So like, why'd she have to mention in Haddonfield if that's where they are? I don't know, small little nitpick. But then like, was Michael disguised as like a house plant or something? Because he just pops out of nowhere and kills this girl. Like, and after hearing this on the phone with your friend, saying that there's an escaped mental patient that killed 3 people and they still haven't found him, and then she turns around to her door wide open. Even if you didn't hear news about an escaped mental patient and there was murders and shit, I'd be out the back door, like far away from that house, because obviously you know someone just came through that front door. But in all horror fashion, she has to go check it out, but then Michael just pops up like to her right hand side. So was she just like looking up the whole time and missed a man crouching down like at a corner of her vision? I don't know, but that whole scene when he just pops out like that, I would love to know where he was hiding, that she missed a big ass man just crouching in the corner, I guess. I don't know, but it's a cool kill. And then we have, let's see here. Yeah, the mom and the nurse don't seem concerned about that child's face that they're bringing into the hospital. It looks like he was fucked in the mouth with like a giant piece of metal. Like his mouth is fucked up. I don't know what happened to this little kid, to that injury that happened to him. I don't know what happened to him, but they don't seem like as concerned as they should be, because he does not look like he's in good shape at all. And even the nurse, the same thing. The mom's like, oh, he needs to see a doctor right away. And she's like, all right, well, the doctor's busy. Just have a seat. Really? Like, take one look at this kid. And I'd be like, like, get him in to see the doctor right away. They don't seem too concerned about that. And then we have the whole thing with Ben Tramer, Laurie's crush from the first movie. And the cop says after they crash into him and it bursts into flames and he burns to death, the cop says he came out of nowhere. Yeah, no, he did not. Like, he crosses the street and there's no way that cop didn't see him. Like, yeah, you can argue it's Halloween. Well, not even that it's Halloween, but it's dark out. But Dr. Loomis and the other cop, they saw him just fine crossing the street. And you're telling me that this cop that was driving, couldn't see this guy crossing the street? I don't know. I feel like that was always just a way to kind of throw in that maybe Michael was killed and just to buy time for Michael to do his killing at the hospital. Which, speaking of the hospital, actually, I'll get to that. But Brackett blaming Loomis for what happened to Annie, no. Like, just no. Like, I get it. He's in shock. He just saw his daughter coming out on a fucking stretcher, dead. So, of course, his mind is not going to be thinking rationally or anything. But for him to go to Loomis and basically blame him, saying that you let him out, like you caused this, is basically what he's implying. I hate to sound like a cold-hearted son of a bitch, but kind of Brackett's fault, man. I mean, if I knew that there was even potentially, is that what I said? Who knows? Even if there was potentially an escaped mental patient like Myers that Loomis has been saying to him all night in the last movie, it was pure evil incarnate and all the things that he described Michael as. If there was even a chance that that guy was out there, I would have called my daughter, went picked her up, and I would have handcuffed her to my fucking hand. You're not going fucking anywhere. Are you serious? So, I don't know. It's not that I'm blaming Brackett, but he should have had his daughter, like, right then and there, right next to him, for the whole rest of Halloween night. Like, not a chance would I leave anything up to chance of something happening to my daughter. If I heard from this doctor over and over again that this escaped mental patient who has the blackest eyes and is the most evil fucking person there is, it's just evil incarnate, there's no taking chances with them. My daughter would not be leaving my side. So for him to be blaming Loomis, I'm sorry, but it's not Loomis's fault at all. Like, if anything, and like I said, I don't want to throw it on Brackett. Kind of his fault for not, like, going after his daughter right away and getting her. At least have, like, a squad car go over and have a deputy pick her up. Anything like that. So he has no right to blame Loomis in this predicament at all. So I never really cared for that either. And this is what I was saying earlier with the hospital. They don't immediately have 5 or 6 cops standing outside of Laurie's room in this hospital at all. Like, this woman was just attacked by Michael Myers and 3 of her friends were murdered. He didn't get to kill Laurie. He tried to. And for reasons that they have no idea of yet, they don't send a single cop to the hospital. Like, one? Like, even if they sent one, sure. I mean, Myers is going to be able to fucking dispatch him faster than the cop can blink. But you would think these cops, they'd have 5, 6 deputies. 2 at the front door of the hospital, 2 at the back, and 3 of them, like, right outside Laurie's room. Just in case that this guy is going to keep coming after her. They have no one there, which I think is fucking retarded. Like, really? They're not going to put a single police officer guarding Laurie's door. They don't know if, like, he's still going to be coming after her for whatever reason. And then they find out later on there is a damn good reason, and the whole reason I don't like, but that it's Michael's younger sister. So just the fact that they don't even put a police officer anywhere near that hospital is always just like, if you want to be a killer, Haddonfield is the town to go. Like, the most incompetent police officers, that and Woodsboro from the Scream movies. If you're an up and coming serial killer, those are the towns you want to go to. Go right to Haddonfield or go right to Woodsboro, because the police officers in these towns are just, they're not working with a full deck, like, at all. I love the shot of Michael walking in the background when the 2 nurses are talking at the nurses station, and then you just see Michael in the background and then, like, turn down a corner. I really like that shot of him. Really cool shot of Michael. Then we have a fucking silverback gorilla jump scare at the cop or security guard. I think he's a security guard. I don't think he's a cop. Because if he is, when he goes down into the basement and said that someone broke into the storage room, if he was a cop, if the fact that he doesn't immediately have his gun drawn is just ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous. That if this is a cop, that he didn't draw his gun immediately when he realized that someone broke into the storage room and that there's a fucking serial killer escaped from a mental asylum on the loose still. That makes no sense to me. And even if he was a security, I don't know the rules back then or the laws. Were security guards able to carry firearms? I don't know. But if he was a cop, which I'm pretty sure now thinking back, I'm pretty sure he was a security officer. If he was a cop, he would have had that fucking gun drawn. Like Loomis is, Loomis in the first movie and this one has his gun out at all times. Like, more than the cops, more than Sheriff Brackett in the first movie. Like, Loomis is fucking ready, like, at the drop of a hat. No one else seems to be taking this seriously. Which, I mean, yeah, if you're Loomis going around saying, like, it's not a man, and it's like, just all the things he says about Michael, just how inhuman he is, and evil, and just all of that. Yeah, it's going to be a little hard for people to take him seriously at first. But after now, you see that he's killed 3 people. Everyone should be on much more high alert than they are in this movie. And then he gets the security officer, he gets hit with the claw end of the hammer by Michael. Kind of reminds me of Friday the 13th Part 2, which both came out the same year. So I wonder if one influenced the other in some way. I doubt it. Then Bud gets strangled really fucking fast. Like, after him and the other nurse. And that's the thing, like, with this movie, too, is that I can tell you every name of every character in the first Halloween. Like, even, like, Halloween 4, which I adore Halloween 4, which is a very divided film in the franchise, too. But this movie, I couldn't tell you half the names of the people in here. Like, only the important ones. And the nurse is not an important one. But Bud, like, when they're in the hot tub and then Bud gets out to check the temperature after Michael turns it all the way up, he gets choked out by Michael for like 5 seconds and then just falls to the ground dead. So that was one hell of a fast strangulation. Michael just, I guess his super strength is just able to just almost pop his head off or something, just instantly kill him because he hits the ground after like less than 10 seconds. So that is a very fast strangulation. Then I like how the nurse gets a bath brought upon her and just Michael just takes her head and shoves it into the steaming hot jacuzzi water. And that's a cool kill. Can you imagine, man, like just having your face held underwater and not just drowning, but like in scalding hot fucking water? That's got to be one hell. It's almost like drowning and burning to death at the same time. Which both separately do not sound kind. Did not sound like a great way to go out. But both together, oh, that's gotta suck. Then the whole thing with Loomis saying, and this bothers me just for, well, 1, for how the word is pronounced, and 2, that they mention it in Halloween 3, when he says Sam Hain. It's Samhain. It's not Sam Hain. It's pronounced Samhain. And they get this right in Season of the Witch. So I don't know why they didn't get it right here. I don't know. Maybe there's different pronunciations and Samhain is just like the older translation of the word. But they get it right in Halloween 3. So I don't know why they call it Sam Hain here. And why is Michael floating around all over the hospital, killing everyone in sight, instead of just going right for Laurie? Like, it's another thing that the whole brother and sister thing just doesn't work for me. If that's his whole reason for going after Laurie, after killing Judith 15 years prior, then this Halloween night going after Laurie because it's his younger sister, then why doesn't he just go into the hospital, go right to her room, and just kill her outright? He kills everyone else in the hospital before finally going after Laurie. So I never got that. And yeah, of course, we wouldn't have a movie if he just went and killed Laurie or tried killing her and that was the end. But it never made any sense to me, for having him taking out everyone else in the hospital and then going after Laurie, when that's like his fucking main goal here. Like, that's his fucking main target is Laurie. And instead of just going in and just taking her out, he's flip-flopping around the hospital taking everybody else out. I don't know. Why not go straight for the sister? Then Michael, when he lifts that nurse up with the scalpel from behind, that's fucking ridiculous. I mean, even in the first movie, I say it too, with Bob when he puts the kitchen knife, but it's such a stylistic shot. It's shot so well, and then him with the head turns and stuff. Like, it doesn't matter if it's realistic or not, but this one for some reason kind of annoys me a little bit. It's a fucking scalpel, and he sticks her with it and lifts her all the way up, and then her shoes fall off. That's a neat little inclusion there, with both her shoes just falling off before he drops her. But there's no fucking way he's lifting her up like that with a scalpel, no less the big ass kitchen knife that he used on Bob in the first movie. And then the whole ending of this movie with Loomis. First of all, with Loomis getting having Marion Chambers come back to the school and saying that he's been sanctioned by the governor or whatever, that he has to return back to Smith Grove. If he didn't blow up at the end of this movie, I would have loved to seen the shit that Loomis got under and got into with the governor and stuff after completely disobeying his orders and not following the order at all. And for the cop, who dies too, luckily, because he would have been out of a fucking job immediately. He has orders from the governor to bring Loomis back. And I love how Loomis is like, what do they call it? A warning shot. And he fucking blows the fucking window out with the gun. And then the cop immediately turns the car around and heads to the hospital. And then we see Michael get shot a few more times. And at this point, this is when they start taking Michael into like a real supernatural, Jason-esque type direction. Because, I mean, yeah, at the end of the first one, he got shot 6 times. But, like, if that was the only movie in this franchise, just the first, John Carpenter's Halloween, you could have argued a bunch of different things for why he survived. I mean, he could have been wearing a bulletproof vest underneath his jumpsuit or anything, pretty much, that you can come up with an idea to rationalize that away. Now he's getting shot like 3-4 more times, and he's still getting up. And this is where this starts for the whole rest of the franchise, where he's just like unkillable. And I guess they do explain it a little bit when they go into the whole Cult of Thorn and Curse of Thorn stuff, which I don't care for that either. Never have. But ironically, Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween 6, is one of my favorite in the franchise. So I find it a little ironic that I don't care for that whole Thorn stuff at all, but like the movie that they really go heavy and it like dive real deep into the Thorn stuff just works for me like the rest of the movie. So like the whole Thorn stuff I can kind of just brush aside, but we'll get to that in Halloween 6. Then, as we know, the killer's never dead. Stay away from that body. And oh, look, he's dead, see? And then the cop gets his throat slit. Cool throat slit. Like, there's not a lot of blood and gore in this movie either, which it doesn't need it. And I've always said and looked at Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween, that I don't look at it as a slasher film. Like, I think it's a perfect movie that has some slashing. And I've had a few friends of mine make the same point in the past. But it's not a good slasher movie. Like, what do I always say on here, what we look for as slasher fans in a slasher film. Great kills, great gore, gratuitous nudity. That's pretty much it. Like, we're not hard to please, slasher fans. But I don't really think of John Carpenter's Halloween as a slasher film. Like, there's hardly any blood in that movie, like, at all. Yeah, we get Linda's tits real quick, but there's no gore, there's no, like, inventive kills. It's just a perfect film that happens to have slasher elements. As they went forward with the franchise, like, from this one, and then especially Halloween 4 and 5 and onwards, then, yeah, I refer to those as slasher films. But the first Halloween, I don't consider it a slasher film. I consider it just a perfect horror movie with slasher elements in it. And this is like I said, what this movie going forward is when we start getting into more and more of the slasher tropes that were starting to get real popular at that time, with Friday the 13th coming out the year before, and the slew of followers that following movies that came after that, and all the themed holiday slasher films with all the tropes that came along with those. You start to see more of them in this movie going forward, and that's one of them, with the killer on the floor and presumably dead, and no, he's not dead, and then that guy gets killed. And like I said, this movie doesn't have as much gore or blood or anything like that as the later entries, but a decent amount more than the first movie. Well, like, any amount is more than the first movie, since there's really nothing in the first movie. Then the whole ending in the room with Laurie is a better shot than fucking Loomis or any of the cops on the Haddonfield Police Department. She just gets two perfect shots right into Michael's eyes. Then I actually do like when Michael has his eyes like shot out and he's just like swiping around and he can't see and he's just like swiping around at the air. That's kind of cool. Then Loomis, after he got stabbed by Michael with the scalpel, which you don't see Michael with a kitchen knife in this movie much. Like, a lot of it is him killing people with a scalpel. I guess just because it was a lot more readily available, because he's in a hospital, I guess. But I don't know. I don't care for the whole scalpel killing tool either about this movie. But after he stabs Loomis, then Laurie shoots his eyes out and he's swinging around like a blind mental case. Then she ends up leaving. They have the gas turned on, and this is the way that Loomis and Michael's story should have ended, because they're fucking dead after this. Are you serious? Like, the whole fucking room explodes. And then I remember what they said, that Loomis got skin grafts and stuff for his burns, and Michael, they don't even really explain how he survived that shit, unless I'm totally forgetting. It's going to be interesting going through this whole franchise from this movie all the way to Halloween Kills, because like I said, I'm not doing a video on Halloween Ends. I did a whole hour-and-a-half live stream on the Real Fifth Beatles channel, my boy Mike, so I have that in my Halloween playlist. If anyone wants to check out our thoughts on Halloween Ends, there's an hour-and-a-half's worth that you can check out there. But going to be interesting to rewatch this whole franchise for the first time in a long time, from beginning to end. So looking forward to that. But yeah, Loomis and Michael are fucking dead after that shit. And too bad that's the end of the Halloween franchise. And then we close with Mr. Sandman, and that's Halloween 2. Like I said, I enjoy it, but especially as I got older, like I liked it a lot more when I was younger. And I didn't even get into like the TV version, like the cut for TV, with the weird edits and stuff in there, and there's like an extra scene or two added. But I haven't seen that TV cut forever. Maybe I'll check it out like in the coming week leading up to Halloween, because they always play that. And I haven't seen that cut in a long time to remember what the scenes were that they added in. But yeah, Halloween 2, and moving on. I don't know if I'll have it up tonight, if not tomorrow, but Season of the Witch, Halloween 3, which is one of my favorites in the whole franchise. Which, like it or not, fuck you. I love Halloween 3 so much. And that's the whole reason for the channel name for this month, with Silver Shamrock added. Because Silver Shamrock. So, wherever you guys are from, I hope you're having a good day and night. And I will talk to you soon.